Se ke sebaka sa go rapela ka setu kgotsa gona go ipobola. Ra leboga le ka nna. May I now, honorable members, ask the secretary to read the order.
Debate on vote number 3, cooperative governance, including vote number 15, traditional affairs appropriation bill.
Thank you. I will now recognize the Honorable Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, Me Nkadime.
Honorable Chairperson, honorable members of the Portfolio Committee, members of our provincial executive committees, fellow cabinet members, Chairperson of our National House of Traditional and Khoisan leaders, Chairperson of our Municipal Demarcation Board and its members, the President of SALGA, Organized Labor, Samo Imatu, Director Generals of TICOC, DTA, including our administrative staff, our acting CEO of NISA, members of our fourth estate, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is sincerely an honor for me to table budget vote 3 and 15 of the Department of Cooperative Government and Traditional Affairs. Joining me tabling these budgets are Deputy Minister Prince Zolile Bensingamashe and Deputy Minister Park Staff. This budget is tabled a day after we commemorated yesterday, of course, Africa Day, and a few days before we begin with our Youth Month. Allow me to say a happy belated Africa Day, Nikule, and a happy Youth Month to come. We also take this opportunity to recognize and commend our former colleagues, Minister Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma and Deputy Minister Obed Mapela, for ably steering COGTA's ship since May 2019. Most importantly, we honor the role played by Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, working with the President of the Republic during our dedicated struggle against COVID-19, global health, and economic pandemic. The disasters, national state of disasters demonstrated what is possible for our country in unison, acting against the common enemy, and what can be achieved with cross-sectoral leadership in both public and private sectors. And this explains why the World Health Organization congratulated South Africa's response in arguably amongst the best in the world. This simply means we demonstrated our capabilities to save lives and livelihoods. If we can save lives in that manner, there is no reason why municipalities should equally not be the epicenters of growth, innovation, inclusivity, and cohesion. Therefore, today, in this morning, we present our mandate, which seeks to build and accelerate implementation as national government, as national COGTA, at the developmental and transformative role of local government, as envisioned in Section 152 of our Constitution, namely to provide a democratic and accountable government for local communities, ensure the provision of services to communities in a sustainable way, promote social and economic development, promote a safe and healthy environment, and equally encourage and involve communities and community organization in local economic development. Given our inherited historical legacy and structural challenges in this democratic area, this is a non-negotiable constitutional mandate we are committed to fulfill and implement. Honorable Chair, as we table this morning the COGTA budget, we detail our department's performance outcomes and indicate our spending priorities. We do so under an especially challenging macro context. As COGTA, we readily acknowledge the existential challenges, which include the sluggish economy, growth, energy crisis, inflation pressures, water insecurity, net effects of the European war, and a depressed fiscal state of municipalities. And this is the reason why we will applaud and welcome the decision taken by National Treasury, which was announced in 2023 during the budget vote by Minister Enoch Godongwana, where he undertook a conditional write-off debt owed by municipalities to ESCO as an agent step to assist and stabilize the energy sector. On a more negative and a sobering note, the developments in Hammanskraal are a dark mark of our democratic dispensation. And as COGTA, we respectfully express firstly our condolences to those families who have lost their loved ones, but needless to say that the cholera outbreak could have been avoided. The systematic response of COGTA to episodes like those in Hammanskraal, to be detailed later in this budget speech, includes putting in place, which has already been approved, the Water Resilience Action Plan, which will form the foundation of our bulk water supply and wastewater treatment plant infrastructure, rehabilitation, energy efficiency interventions within the water regulation and sewer system. Honorable Chair, as COGTA, we are committed to ensuring that local government is everyone's business. And allow me to now detail the departmental interventions that have already been made to accelerate the implementation, plus measure impact on the continuity of programs. The 6th administration flagship program of district development model is making recognizable progress in being institutionalized at the 3 spheres of government. It cannot be emphasized enough how DDM has anchored in the intergovernmental relations is critical for policy implementation, coherence, and to maximize on impact. Through the one plan and one budget, we've initiated the quality assurance process, which was aimed at assisting the quality of all submitted one plans. And key findings emerged from the quality assurance process highlighted the need on the strength to shift towards collaboration, joint planning, and strengthening of the involvement of sector departments, state-owned entities, and private sector. So we are pleased as the department that we have improved coordination and cooperation between Office of the Premiers and provincial COGTAs in coordinating and institutionalizing and the implementation of DDM. And the same vein, we have introduced through this DDM and this institutionalization and recognized the importance of sincerely engaging and working collaboratively with the institution of traditional and core leadership. And this is encouraging since it means we need to deal with less more than optimal relationship between traditional leaders and municipal council. In our 2022 local government summit, SALGA was, as part of the resolutions and the National House, mandated to immediately implement and sign a memorandum of understanding, which amongst other things, improve the working relations between the traditional leaders and the municipal council. This is an important intervention through which Mahoshi Arena and our councillors can pull together their respective strengths and provide the much needed collective leadership and to steer development in local communities. In all those engagements, Mahoshi also emphasized that there are investable opportunities in their communities, which should be leveraged in line with the Invest Rural strategy to improve the living conditions of people in those areas. And during this financial year, we'll be giving specific attention to the developmental opportunities linked to mining activities as a start in all traditional communities. Working closely together with the Department of Traditional Leadership, municipalities, and the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy to ensure that the optimum benefit in terms of enterprise development, skills development, procurement, socio-economic development, ownership, just to mention a few, as encapsulated in the social labor plan. This is just beginning to show what we intend to expand going forward to reach out to all the mining houses operating in traditional communities. On the same vein, the matter of tool of trades are essential for traditional leaders to perform their function in an effective and efficient manner. And COGTA once more is committed to working and engaging with communities in ensuring that traditional leaders who serve in municipal councils are provided with tools of trade and other necessary benefits during their term of office. We'll also be addressing this matter and will also be contributing towards the harmonizing of the relationships, as I have indicated. And Deputy Minister Benson Amash will further on detail this. Honorable Chair, with regard to national interventions, we have seen tangible progress which have been made in line with our constitutional obligation to provide developmental and transformation local government and visible service delivery. Of course, these structural challenges which require national interventions are rooted in weak institutional capacity, poor governance, poor financial management, corruption, and political instability. This accounts to why 66 municipalities in 2022 were identified as dysfunctional, with challenges across key performance areas of administration, governance, financial administration, service delivery, and LED, which is local economic development. As the president of the governing party, Honorable Cyril Ramaphosa said this year at an ANC Lekgotla, indeed, I quote, "The collapse of some of the municipalities and poor service delivery are related to what is termed the political administrative interface. This means that many of the issues at municipal level can be laid at the door of elected representatives, and we must be proactive and resolute in addressing these issues," at close quote. Nevertheless, Honorable Chair, we can confidently provide this progress to date, that we will be able to monitor the national interventions as outlined in section 139(7) of the Constitution in Likwa, Mangaung, and Enoch Mgijima in the Eastern Cape. In fact, Mangaung is the first municipality where a coordinated effort by national government is being implemented. The departments, for example, of human settlement, environment, COGTA, transport, MISA, National Treasury, have seconded officials to occupy management positions to stabilize the metro. Political instability had been a problem. The new mayor has been elected. We're seeing the gains of what the foundation of political stability can be able to bring. Specifically, since COGTA and MISA intervention in Enoch Mgijima, for example, we've been able to see identifiable improvements in these municipality areas by assessing and beginning to reduce the infrastructure backlog and the implementation of infrastructure plan through DTM. Equally so in Likwa, this was the first where 1397 of the Constitution was passed through a court process. But over the past 24 months, the interventions created a foundation of which council is now able to run on its day-to-day, is stable, is functional, of course needs support with regard to the development of infrastructure. The social labor plan program I have articulated earlier on focuses on 14 municipalities: Elias Motsoaledi, Lephalale, Mogale City, Merafo, Randwest City, Rustenburg, Moses Kotane, Madibeng, Matlosana, Emalahleni, Steve Tshwete, Machabeng, Gaseronyana, and Gamagara. This alignment of ensuring that SLPs approved projects are prioritized in municipal IDPs, MISA has been seized with, and memorandum of understanding with Wits University to roll out this SLP training program to municipal officials has also been undertaken. We urge other public and private institutions to join hands with COGTA in ensuring that we prioritize service delivery, especially at local municipalities. You will be pleased, Honorable Chair, to know that in accordance with the DDM mandate, COGTA also aims to stabilize 20 of the 66 dysfunctional municipalities by the end of this financial year. This we will achieve through a reliance section of section 154(1) of the Constitution, which calls on the national and the provincial affairs to support and strengthen municipalities. As I had mentioned, these interventions are necessary to address the political instability. This instability is shown by an impact which compromises the municipality's ability to adopt policies and bylaws. coalition's instability, which compromises municipal administration, amongst other things, and local communities which continue to bear the brunt of unstable coalitions and politics. So as COCTA, our strategic response has been stated by the development, as the Deputy President articulated day before yesterday, of ensuring that a coalition framework will be passed through this House to ensure that the formation of sustainability of coalitions becomes what is a norm, and our communities can enjoy the services that they so deserve. The National Disaster Management Center has completed a review of the National Disaster Management Forum, a framework rather, and it is expected that it will go out shortly for public comment and a gazette during this financial year. During the floods which occurred in at least 4 provinces, KwaZulu-Natal, Mpumalanga, Northwest, and the Eastern Cape Province, during April 2022, we have taken lessons to ensure that the various work streams which have been developed there are strengthened to ensure that they deliver. So NDNC, Honorable Chair, has been allocated 516 million for the disaster response grants for disaster intervention measures with affected municipalities in KwaZulu-Natal and in the Eastern Cape. So in collaboration with MISA again and the Provincial Disaster Management and other key roles stakeholders, they will be continue to playing a support and an intervention role in all the disaster interventions in the highlighted areas, but also in all the other areas where additionally disaster could be experienced. Honorable Chairperson, we are focusing on result-based planning, given what is stated above, in pursuit of improving and enhancing quality service delivery and sustainable municipal basic services. The department has adopted a result-based planning approach towards the key programs that will result in meaningful impact. And to that effect, a result-based management office, what we call a RMO, is being established and is operating like a war room. Of course, the war room approach is not new in local government. Rather, it is being implemented not only to measure acceleration, but also to ensure that we deal with loopholes as illustrated in what I've articulated, in what we have been able to discover when we are rolling out the DDM. A primary purpose of establishing this fully functional RMO is to ensure that all infrastructure and strategic programs produce the intended outcomes and people get the services that they need. The RMO will be sourced through the recruitment and placement of highly qualified, skilled, and experienced local government experts and specialists who will be working with municipalities and other sector departments in all our provinces. Now, let me highlight our key departmental budget allocations. In respect of vote 3, the department approved the budget allocation for 2023-24 financial years as 121 billion. And this total allocation is expected to increase at an average annual rate of 5.9% from the 121 billion in 2023-2024 to 136 billion in the year 2025-2026. And this will bring the total allocation to the department in line with the medium-term expenditure framework period to around 387 billion. The largest portion of this budget, Honorable Chair, it goes to and is allocated to transfers to municipalities, and we're estimating it to be running at 364 billion, which is 95% total allocation of what COCTA received over the MTEF period. And these grants include the local government equitable share, the MIG as we know it, and releasing an average growth of about 7.8% and a 4.4% respectively over the MTF period. The local government equitable share comprises of an estimated 81.8%, which is 309 billion, to the department spending over the medium term. In this amount, there's an additional 8.1 billion to compensate municipalities for the increased cost of bulk electricity and water, as well as MIG allocation being 55 billion over the MTF period. I thought you would clap hands. Municipalities will benefit here. In respect of vote 15, but it's cold, I understand. In respect of vote 15, the appropriate budget 2023-24 amounts to 193 million. And this allocation is expected to increase to 201 million in 2024-25 and 209 million in the outer year of 2025-26. And out of this allocation, 25% is a transfer payment to CRL Rights Commission, which translates to 49 million in 2023-24 and 51 million in the outer year of 2025-26. Ladies and gentlemen, with regard to remuneration matters, our silent matter with the Independent Commission of Remuneration of Public Office Bearers, it has publicized its recommendation last month on the 21st of April 2023, recommending a 3.8 increase for all public office bearers. Thus far, I'm processing a consultation process with SALGA and MECs responsible for local government with the view of finalizing the upper limits for councillors of 2021-2023 financial years. We are also requested an audience with the Commission to view the system of remuneration of councillors and traditional leaders. On a similar matter, I will be publishing, therefore, revisions for the upper limits for the remuneration of senior managers 2022-2023 financial year. My office have also been receiving requests for waivers of remuneration for senior managers in municipalities due to the limitation presently in the remuneration framework, where you find the remuneration of the third level managers encroaches or even in some instances surpasses the remuneration of paid senior managers. And the department, in collaboration with National Treasury, Department of Public Service and Administration, SALGA and provinces, were at the final stage of introducing this framework to ensure that the system, the remuneration system will do away with the salary creep and the need for waivers. The legislative review, Honorable Chair, also lists a process of legislation that impacts on local government. IMSI bill, which have been developed in compliance with section 10139(8) of the Constitution, aims to strengthen the processes and the procedures of intervening by national and provincial government in provinces and municipalities respectively. The bill will provide unambiguous, clear processes and procedures on how to deal uniformly with invocation of section 10139 of the Constitution. It will also provide legal rights and legalities of all parties concerned. On another hand, our IGR framework will be publishing the regulations in line with section 47 of the Framework Act for public comments in this financial year as well. The introduction of this regulations will be a significant milestone, as it will enable 3 spheres of government to strengthen in their relations through the lens of DDM. And the regulation will confirm that DDM must be institutionalized within the existing IGR framework to be mandatory and no longer an option. So specific DDM and one plan coordination roles and responsibilities are furthermore defined and expanded on the regulations for national, provincial, district, and department. So currently, the regulations will provide an effect to an improved intergovernmental relation collaboration system. Deputy Minister Tau will obviously elaborate further on some of the issues that I've raised above. And indeed, COCTA is now demonstrating that actions and deed, that local government is everybody's business. Evidence-based decision-making is central in policy-making and in implementation. In this approach, the result and the governing adoption of the DDM outcome-based approach can be the only thing that takes us forward. Why do I preface my remarks in this manner? Allow me to reference the Human Research Council in its recent research that the Electoral Commission of South Africa, the IEC, has found, and I quote,
Honorable Minister, please take your seat. Yes, Honorable Faber.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chair, I would just like to know if the Minister would take a question.
Okay.
No.
Honorable Minister, would you like to take a question?
No, I would like to continue with my speech.
Thank you.
I was quoting Honorable Chair the Human Science Research Council, and I just opened my quote, I would say, hope and trust in democracy. Its institution and processes has declined substantially, especially since 2009, reaching an all-time low in 2021. The research revealed, and I close quote. So as a society, we need to do more. We need to listen more to the voices of our communities. We must respond to the urgent and existential challenges that occupy our citizens and communities. So fortunately within this, we have within our power, the means to accelerate the implementation and provide long-lasting solutions that are impactful and positively can change the life. In conclusion, Honorable Speaker and Honorable Chairperson, allow me to say you would agree with me in the finding of the Human Science Research Council alone. It demonstrates the need to move forward in a result-based planning framework that is developmental and guarantees the change that we want to see by 2030. Local government is everybody's business. Join hands. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. May I now recognize the Honorable Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, Honorable Person.
Mhlali ngaphambili. Umphathiswa wesebe lakwa-Cocta nosekela abaphathiswa bakhe. Inhloko zombini zesebe okanye zamasebe. Umhlali ngaphambili nosekela wakhe wendlu yenkosi namakhoyisana. Imibuthwana esebenza nesebe. I-Demarcation Board, CRL Rights Commission, no acting CEO, we Municipal Structure Infrastructure Support Agent. Nomzana uStofile, oyinhloko yeSalga. Mandithathe lithuba egameni lekomiti sibulele ukuba ngokuyalelwa ngumbutho luphetheyo othi makwenziwe amajadu ukuziswa kwenkonzo ebantwini. Sikhokelwa ke yiloo nto siye sabizana nesebe. Sahlala phansi ngomhla we-18 nomhla we-19 ku-April kulo nyaka sikuwo. Apho bekuthiwe thatha phambi kwethu izicwangciso zonyaka.
Babkas, bengisacela ukuthi wherever you are seated, please check the mic next to you. Some members might have left those mics on and the volume is high. I've also asked the service staff to assist me in switching the volume off. It's really disturbing. Is that what you were raising on? Thank you very much. Proceed, Honorable Kasa.
Bendicinga uba baxa kwesi siXhosa. Ndithi ke bekuthiwe thatha phambi kwethu izicwangciso zonyaka ezeminyaka le-5 nolwabiwo-mali lalo nyaka. Kakhulu besithetha ngesebe, ngamasebe lawo mabini, eli lobumbano neli lezenkosi. Siphinde sijonge kula masetyana asebenza nalo, sijonge phaa ku-Municipal Infrastructure Support Agent, CRL Rights Commission, the Municipal Demarcation Board, and the South African Local Government Association. Ezi zicwangciso zonyaka ziye zathwa thatha phambi kwethu sizinikwa iPalamente kulandelwe ke yonke imithetho ekufanele uba iyalandela. Apha kuzo kakhulu kucaciswa ngale nto ekuthiwa zii-outputs. Kucaciswe kwakhona nge-indicators and okokugqibela nee-targets. Kuwo onke la masebe omabini nezi entities sithetha ngazo. Ikakhulu sicaciselwa phaa ngumphathiswa negqiza lakhe ukuba zeziphi izinto abacinga uba bangakwazi uziphumelela by i-31st of March 2024. I-Portfolio Committee iyonke iye yavumelana neziphakamiso zongenelelo kwiingxaki ezikhoyo ezininzi kweli candelo lethu lakwa-COGTA. Yavumelana into okokuba ezi ziphakanyiso zibekwa phambi kwethu zifanelekile. Now xa sizikhethela ke ngoku kuba sibanintsi apha abantu abakula Portfolio Committee abangathetha ngokwahlukahlukana, kodwa ngoku besichopile phathi nasiyikomiti sivene into okokuba ezi zicwangciso kuzawusetyenzwa ngazo zi-right. Ndithe ke phakathi kwezo zinto zininzi masibayeke amalungu athethe apha afuna ukuthetha khona. Kodwa ke ndathi njengomhlali ngaphambili ukuhlaba indlela mandikhethe nje benye, ndakhetha i-district development model. It is now nearly 4 years since Cabinet adopted the district development model. However, the model's footprint on the district and metropolitan spaces is not adequately imprinted. The Portfolio Committee's several oversight visits to districts with so-called dysfunctional municipalities have bolstered this observation. The submission of the one plans, which are the DDM's lifeblood, as they embody the model's coordination objective, has not always been forthcoming. The district development model concept itself has not yet enjoyed a common understanding. More work needs to be done to ensure that the model permeates through the various structures responsible for its implementation. Municipal infrastructure support agent also should maximize this model to ensure coordination with other critical stakeholders in the infrastructure support value chain, as the entity's technical support mandate cannot be fulfilled in isolation. A practical example is the decade-old Makhanda water crisis in Grahamstown, whose resolution is not possible without better coordination. I'm sure we have seen students and everybody else blocking roads some two weeks ago. As we went there as a portfolio committee, we discovered that there are many stories and they come from a long way, but money has been poured into that institution or that municipality. Where it goes, we don't know, but we are saying MISA. We are saying MISA must work with the Department of Water and Sanitation, as well as the municipality itself, to make sure that when there's a project, that project is.
Order.
when there's a project, that project is delivered. So that is the experience that we have with Makanda, and we expect action. By the way, after the visit, we had a meeting with all these entities that I'm counting, the municipality, Amatola Water, as well as the Department of Water and Sanitation. After the action, we actually interacted with them to find out what is the problem. Where are we now? In conclusion, Chairperson, I would want to thank the department first and the entities for a good presentation that was made to the committee and the proper plans that have been put in place. As the portfolio committee now, we are going to be able to engage you properly in terms of what we have agreed on. By the way, we are excited about the budget itself, and I hope working together with everybody, members of the committee and our support staff would be able to make sure that the funds that have been allocated will be well spent. Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you. May I now recognize the honorable space?
Honorable Chairperson, honorable members, and all guests present. Let me from the onset put the record straight. As a Democratic Alliance, we've never agreed to the APPs. So let us not mislead the House and the public out there. Honorable members, we have witnessed the establishment of various local government improvement programs aimed at achieving the ideal level of performance within municipalities. However, it is crucial to recognize the shortcomings and obstacles that have hindered our progress. It started out with Project Consolidate, then the 5-year strategic agenda, the policy review of the system of provincial and local government, the local government turnaround strategy, and the back to basics approach, and the list is endless. These are plans, while well-intentioned, have ended up as mere acronyms with little to show in terms of tangible results. The lack of coordination and implementation, coupled with persistent patriarchy of cadre deployment within the ANC, has undermined our progress and left our municipalities struggling. While the lack of coordination between different spheres of government is often cited as a reason for failure, it is important to acknowledge that the governing parties refusal.
Honorable space, I'm sorry to disturb you. May the Honorable Paulson and the Honorable Mamkize, please, if you want to talk, you can move out and do your talk. Proceed, ma.
My time, please.
No, it has been stopped as soon as I.
Honorable members, while the lack of coordination between different spheres of government is often cited as the reason for our failures, it is important to acknowledge the governing party's refusal and inability to implement lawfully promulgated strategies that have led us to a point where our plans end up in overflowing dustbins devoid of tangible results. But wait, let us turn our attention to the latest, the district development model. While presented as the solution to our governance woes, it is important to acknowledge its doomed conception. The ANC's hope that the DDM will magically address our challenges is misguided. We cannot rely on empty promises and catchy buzzwords. To date, over 100 million rand has been spent on the DDM. What we need are concrete and sustainable proposals that are free from the shackles of cadre deployment. The DDM in its current form lacks the necessary coordination, vision, and practicality to bring about the transformative change we desperately need. To truly achieve a new alignment of processes and to ensure the practicality of our plans, we need a fundamental change in leadership. Meritocracy, competence, and integrity must be prioritized over personal interests. We must move away from the governing party's grip on power, which has impeded progress and stifled innovation. Let's learn from Umgeni's Mayor Chris Pappas, Jordan E. Lewis from the city of Cape Town, Mayor Dirk Kotze from Mossel Bay, Dr. Annelie Rabi from Overstrand, on how to make a municipality work for its people. And just yesterday, Saldanha Bay municipality in the Western Cape and Midvaal municipality in Gauteng emerged as the top municipalities according to the 2022 Municipal Feasibility Index by Ratings Africa. I have written to both Minister Nkadimeng and Acting CEO of SALGA, requesting that they convene a best practice summit on municipal governance. This will afford GA-run governments that have been cited for good governance an opportunity to share best practices and key lessons on how to improve governance outcomes in failing municipalities. And thank you, Minister, your officer have already responded. As we reflect on the last budget of the 6th Parliament, it is disheartening to note the lack of tangible achievements by COCTA. The absence of substantial progress underscores the urgent need for a new approach and fresh leadership. We cannot continue down the same path and expect different outcomes. How do you explain to a community in Mpame in the Eastern Cape that you cannot provide them with basic services for decades, but you can easily increase a department office accommodation budget from 51 million rand to 74.4 million rand? How do you explain that the Community Works program incurred 3.3 billion rand in irregular expenditure, but gets rewarded with an unchanged budget? Yet the provision of tools of trade for traditional and Khoisan leaders remains a burden. And that despite a decade of traditional leadership transformation, the department fails to include them in their target outputs. How do you explain that the disaster management budget is reduced from 4.2 billion rand to 932 million rand, while the effects of climate change stares us in the face daily? COCTA also undertook to support National Treasury in finding or finalizing a solution to Eskom's debt burden. And the solution, the Eskom Municipal Debt Relief, while aiming to address the 56 million debt burden faced by municipalities, it inadvertently robs Peter to pay Paul. The temporary relief provided to municipalities puts additional strain on their financial resources, ultimately impacting the delivery of services to indigent households. Honorable members, this perpetuates the social distance between communities and government, widening the gap and hindering progress. Some municipalities were already raising the equitable share meant to provide free basic services. Therefore, we must reevaluate our strategies, address the root causes of our failures, and prioritize the needs of our communities. A paradigm shift is necessary, one that places the well-being of our people, particularly the most vulnerable, at the forefront. The current approach of robbing Peter to pay Paul is unsustainable. Additionally, the lack of substantial achievements by COCTA in the 6th Parliament emphasizes the urgency for change and a new direction. We must recommit ourselves to effective governance, transparency, and accountability, placing the interest of our communities above all else. This is our responsibility, and it's crucial, honorable members, that we rise to the occasion. President Cyril Ramaphosa, you kept the door open to the wrong people. Tuma Mina.
Okay. The Honorable Mkhalip. Honorable members, maybe you forget that all the speakers are given seats in the front here. From my right, you can sit there, and from my left, you sit there, so that we don't see this movement in and out. Thank you. The Honorable Mkhalip.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Chairperson, I would like to greet the leadership collective of the EFF under the able and visionary leadership of our Commander-in-Chief. I would like to particularly congratulate the leadership of EFF and all members, supporters, and ground forces for making the EFF what it is over the past 10 years. I join millions of ordinary South Africans and Africans across the continent and in the diaspora in wishing the EFF a happy 10th anniversary. Chairperson, the EFF reject these budget votes. Right across the country, the state of municipal governance has completely collapsed to such an extent that municipalities cannot perform basic functions such as picking up of rubbish, ensuring that there is a provision of clean water, ensuring that the grass is cut, and that clinics are functional with necessary medication. Things are so bad that we, as the EFF, decided to initiate and launch Andres Tatane campaign to clean up our communities as we celebrate our 10-year anniversary, because it was obvious that the ANC government has completely failed, leaving us with an extremely polluted environment and turning our communities into pigsties. This is the owner of Comrade Andres Tatane, a community activist who was killed in a cold blood by the police under the ANC government for protesting for the provision of clean quality water. Today, those who in power, which is the ANC, have not lent.
Sorry, ma. Assembly, why do you do that? The two of you and Mr. Faber, please, you are shouting murderers, he's shouting to you back. No, please respect the member on the podium, please. I'm not going to say this again. Proceed. You can do your partnership outside this. You start again, I'm sending you out. It's a warning.
Thank you
Proceed, ma.
Today, over 15 people have died from cholera in Hammanskraal because of the contaminated water. This could have been prevented had we had a proper functional government. The people of Hammanskraal have been without a secure supply of clean water for the past 12 years, and yet nothing has been done to date, including the DA. What the Hammanskraal situation shows to our people is the corrupt, incompetent, and lack of visionary government. Many will die unnecessary deaths because of the corruption of the ANC and the racism of the DA in Tshwane. Many of municipalities are dysfunctional. Of the country, 257 municipalities, 66 are considered completely dysfunctional. These municipalities can't proper budgets, can't pay staff, constantly run over budgets, in the default to their creditors. And when we received this report in the committee, we even said as committee members that we are told that it's only 66 municipalities that are dysfunctional, but there is more. As we speak now, eThekwini municipality, which is one of the metros, we are told that there is an investigation under section 154, but yet in the committee, there is no formal report that has been tabled. So all these municipalities are run by the ANC. Furthermore, in September last year, National Treasurer warned that 51 municipalities in the country are on the brink of collapse, while 43 have already collapsed and require urgent intervention to rescue them. It's even worse. In Northwest, the Northwest provincial government is under section 100. So how do we expect Northwest provincial government to ensure that local municipalities are run well? This is how far the ANC has destroyed everything they've touched. If the people of South Africa in the next year elections going to vote the ANC, I doubt if they are going to survive. And if South Africans don't kick the ANC out of power next year, we will live to regret it for generations to come. The department itself is not properly run, and sometimes I get the feeling that the minister, as a new minister to this department, have lost hope as well, because the minister have found the department in shambles. We have even arranged with the department, with the minister, deputies, to come and sit down as a portfolio committee to understand why the department is even failing. Because we can't expect the national government, which is your department minister, to go and give directions to the provincial government and local government while the department is also dysfunctional. There's no capacity in the department. The community works program, which is the department's largest source of irregular expenditure, amounting to R500 million in 2023-2024 alone, is the one way to demonstrate how corrupt this department has become. But up to date, there's no one has been charged in the department. People are just looting in this program, just looting. Over the years, the CWP has incurred up until 3.3 billion in irregular expenditure. For this accounted for billions, no one has been charged. And when we call for department to come and explain to the portfolio committee, no one have an appetite. I'm happy that we have a new DG, but yes, but we rest assured, we want to know where are these billions from this CPW. Minister, I don't know, since we have been appointed as a minister, I think most of the people were very happy because we are young, we thought that you have an experience as well, but you are hardly attending a portfolio committee as well. We even don't understand what is the problem. But we are busy gallivanting with Mr. Ramaphosa, and we see you laughing with Abovovo, pretending as if Mr. Ramaphosa, exactly what you were doing when you were gallivanting with Mr. Ramaphosa. But we are saying to you, come to the portfolio committee. You must be accountable to the portfolio committee because the department that you are leading is totally dysfunctioning. Minister, SALGA has told the committee that political factors outside SALGA's locus of control are interfering with its operation. So we are expecting you as the head, political head of the department to go and solve it. Because each time when SALGA and all other stakeholders come before the portfolio committee, we always remind you that if you are not going to solve the political challenges, which is steered up by the ANC, we are not going to get any
Thank you
results
very
very soon.
much.
So therefore, we reject this budget. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Faber, why are you on your feet?
Chairperson, I just need to get clarity. As far as I know, heckling is allowed. And I know members are not, according to Rule 65, converse allowed. But Chairperson, I wanted to make a ruling because it seems like if we heckle, you have a problem with that. And as far as I understand, we are allowed to heckle. And we were definitely not discussing.
Thank you very much. You are allowed to heckle, but you are not allowed to drown the speaker here. You were making a lot of noise. That's why I interfered. Rule 65 that you are talking about says members may not converse aloud during debate. And that's exactly what you were doing. And that's why you got a warning. You do it again, you are gone. The Honorable Buthelezi has been given permission to speak from the virtual platform. Proceed, Honorable Buthelezi.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Section 154 of the Constitution mandates that this department supports and strengthens municipal capacity to manage their own affairs, exercise their powers, and perform their allocated functions. However, defaulting municipalities that want their ESCOM debt scrapped have been advised by the National Treasury to collect electricity revenue from consumers and cut off those consumers who default. If these municipalities want to benefit from the National Treasury's Municipal Debt Relief Initiative, this ultimatum clearly indicated the lack of understanding of our government for the circumstances in municipalities with high numbers of indigent households, especially considering that local governments only receive 9.1% of the equitable share from the national fiscus, which has proven to be utterly insufficient for municipalities to deliver services. Therefore, the IFP notes the importance of the government role in financially aiding municipalities that have been hit hard by load shedding and do not have a budget that caters for them to invest in alternative energy or buy generators. Local economic development has continued to deteriorate due to the adverse effects of load shedding, as municipalities are unable to deliver on their core mandate, which is to deliver services to the people. A recent survey done by Nedbank and the Township Entrepreneur Alliance indicates that 64% of township small businesses halt operations during load shedding, which in some areas means an entire business day, as they can have up to 10 hours of load shedding in a single day. Furthermore, almost 66% of township business owners have lost jobs because of load shedding. Consequently, this further contributes to municipalities' inability to alleviate poverty and fuels unemployment, as Stats SA has recently indicated that South Africa's unemployment rate has remained the highest in the world, standing at a staggering 32.9% in the first quarter of 2023. Therefore, the IFP wants to echo the sentiments of the report that the Municipal Infrastructure Support Agent should provide the Portfolio Committee with the list of municipalities prioritized for intervention. Inaction will lead to the further deterioration of the state of our municipalities, which directly impacts South Africans. We also call on this department to be more proactive in the protection of our traditional leaders, as there seems to be a blatant lack of support and protection provided to them. As a party, we shall continue to fight for the rights and of the institution of Amakosi, as we recognize their role and importance in securing good governance. As such, we want to emphasize the report's call for the department to provide the outstanding report requested in the 2022 BIII process in connection with the killing of traditional leaders, particularly in KwaZulu-Natal, where the problem has become systematic. It is unacceptable that the department is treating this issue with such lack of urgency. In consideration of the comments made, the IFP accepts the budget. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you.
War.
Barrelich, Grunewald.
Voorzitter, local government plays a crucial role in ensuring effective service delivery, promoting community development and safeguard the interest of our citizens.
Order.
One of the key aspects of local government is service delivery. Communities deserve efficient, reliable and sustainable service delivery that meets their basic needs. The Freedom Front Plus advocates for accountable local government structures that prioritize service delivery and ensure transparency. Assessing the financial health of municipalities with the State of Local Government report from Treasury tells that the municipality is not permitted to close the financial year with any short-term borrowing or overdraft. If they do, it's a strong indicator of municipality in financial distress. Furthermore, at a minimum, municipalities must maintain a positive cash position. If not, it is the first indicator of financial distress. The report also states that the funded budget is a budget that derives from a realistic anticipated revenue to be collected. Yet it is common practice that most municipalities tend to overstate revenue projection, resulting in cash flow difficulties. In layman words, not able to pay for service delivery. And this was reported already in 2011. We know that the OR Tambo District Municipality is not able in total to render services. Today, yet we were a warning in 2011 stating that the OR Tambo have an overdraft of 5 months worth of operating expenditure. The finances of a district municipality must be investigated immediately to establish the extent of the financial problem and intervene. Interesting is that the annual report of 2022 of OR Tambo reads that the annual report was not made public and local communities was not invited to submit presentation. Council failed to adopt an oversight report, performance management system not properly implemented, and no steps was taken to do so. In 2012 financial year, the State of Municipalities report stated CR Tembo Municipality reported they have an overdraft of 11 months worth of operating expenditure. Today's audit report reads that the STBIP was not developed, performance targets was not set, mid-year performance was not done, performance management systems was not established, UIF&W was not investigated and allegations of theft of over 100,000 rand was not reported to authorities. Proof the ANC did not govern in the best interest of communities. The 2012 State of Municipality also reported that 30% of all municipalities have a negative cash balance. Also that Mangaung Metro tabled and adopted an unfunded budget and have no reserves to cover any shortfall. And today the Metro has fallen to no or little service delivery. Furthermore, 52 municipalities reported a negative closing cash position and 25 municipalities did not even report. In 2014's report, it states that 52% of municipalities won't be able to cover the monthly expenses adequately. In 2016, the State of Municipalities report states that there were an increase of 246% of municipalities reporting a negative cash flow position against the previous year in 2017. And in 2017, an increase of a further 770% of municipalities report a negative cash position, with 27 municipalities not even reporting. Over the period of 2011 to 2017, a total of just over 90 billion rand was not spent on capital budgets. Let's fast forward to 2021, State of Municipalities report. Unfunded budgets have significantly increased over the 5 years, from 74 in 2017 to 106 in 2021. 133 municipalities has a cash ratio of less than 1 month. 90% of municipalities spent less than 8% on repairs and maintenance. 60% of municipalities underspent on asset renewal and adequate protection infrastructure. Only 152 out of 242 CFOs met the minimum requirement competencies, and 182 municipal managers out of 242, and only 485 out of 863 senior managers met the minimum required competencies. The report also states that 165 municipalities is in financial distress. These facts speaks to the fact that the ANC has failed to govern. They were warned from 2011 and done nothing to save the situation in local government, as it only worsened. The ANC failed local communities for the last 13 years, as the State of the Municipalities report confirmed this, and they will fail every year that comes if they stay in government. But the silver lining is that the ANC support deteriorated just like that of local government. The ANC must make way as a coalition in the future of South Africa, where different parties represent different voters, thus a true representation of all the people, therefore working in the interest of all the people. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. The Honorable Sukers, you are granted permission to speak.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Chairperson, most of us in this House could not reliably point out Warrington in the Northern Cape on a map. The 3-month-long water crisis there is yet another warning that South Africa is in crisis and that there is no political will to address it. A water treatment plant upgrade to the value of between 84 to 86 million rand started in 2020. It is still incomplete. My oversight visit to the town shockingly exposes that work to restore water has been halted, with rumors swirling of corruption, poor contract management, and acts of intimidation against citizens. The poor suffer water apartheid, waiting for days for water trucks that do not come. The wealthy and middle income earners can isolate themselves for now to buy water. The failure of the municipality paves the way for the exploitation of the poor by businessmen selling water off the back of bakkies for the poorest of the poor. When the oppressed community's anger boils over and they take mass action, their very own municipality gets a court interdict against them to prevent them from gaining clarity on municipal financial reports and on when water will be restored. Just like back in apartheid, the full might of the state presses down on the marginalized. There is no political will at local government level to end the crisis because there is an intricate web of power, greed, corruption, patronage, and vote buying that is committed by the biggest parties that are sitting in this House. They have eroded the trust in our democratic system. The state lacks capacity, as is evident in the cholera outbreak in Hammanskraal and the very real threat of cholera in the towns surrounding the Vaal. The budgets we are voting on are far too often a case of the tail wagging the dog. the interest of officials are served before that of the people, with billions spent in administering projects with no impact. Political parties represented in this House must take ownership for the organizational failures they have allowed in our metros, like Johannesburg, Tshwane, Solplaatje, and in our smaller municipalities like Warrington. Party leaders on both sides of the aisle need to visit Warrington to bring their councillors to order, Chair. It has become common practice across municipalities for councillors to build businesses and attend to their own interests rather than doing their jobs. As political parties, we employ the unemployable in positions of council, a crew of desperate charlatans who through political influence become public representatives. And this is at the heart of our broken municipalities. We have an incapable state, Chair, and we
Thank
lack
you
the
very
capacity
much,
to build
Honourable
a capable
Seekers.
state. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. We now recognize the Deputy Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, Honorable Zhao.
Thank you, Chairperson. Allow me to rise on the protocol that has been observed by the Minister. And of course, acknowledge the Minister herself, Minister Nkadime. Honorable members, our mission is clearly defined in supporting integrated planning and accelerated service delivery across the three spheres of government. It should be stated upfront that in terms of the community work program, there are green shoots since under vote 3, 4.2 billion rand is allocated for the CWP program. Our focus during the transition period of the CWP is to harness this army of 250,000 plus participants towards improved service delivery. Honorable Chairperson, the Municipal Infrastructure Grant provides capital finance to 217 municipalities to implement infrastructure-related projects to ensure basic service delivery to poor households in the areas of water, sanitation, roads, and community facilities. An amount of 17.6 billion rand or 55 billion rand over the 2023 MTF has been allocated to municipalities in the 2023-24 financial year. The momentum that must be built in this area has to be supported through the development of asset management planning and practices within our municipalities. The momentum, comparing the 2021 and 2021-2022 MIG allocations, perennial non-performance of the MIG grant has reduced from 39 to 36 municipalities. We envisage that this will be further reduced with the support coordinated through the DDM, especially the technical support provided by MISA where required. Underperforming municipalities will be supported to utilize the 5% set aside for the enhancement of project management capabilities, which will assist with scoping, expenditure tracking, and quality management. We'll also take the opportunity to commend the 116 municipalities who have spent over 90% of their cumulative allocations over the past 4 years. In order to guard against MIG allocations being unspent by municipalities and returned to the national fiscus, COGTA will intervene in municipalities where there is under expenditure by applying provisions of DORA that allow the department to retain a portion of the MIG allocation and create an indirect grant through Schedule 6B. Understandably, this will empower COGTA to directly intervene by implementing the MIG projects that municipalities fail to implement and avoid the grants being stopped and reallocated to other municipalities. Honorable members, the purpose of the Integrated Urban Development Grant is firstly to provide funding for public investment in infrastructure for the poor, and secondly, to promote increased access to municipal-owned sources of capital finance in order to increase funding for public investment and economic infrastructure. Municipalities receiving the IUDG must meet the set qualification criteria, and currently there are 8 municipalities on the program, namely Polokwane, Honorable Minister, Solplaiki, Steve Chwete, Mogale City, Rain Konyeni, Umhlatuze, Stellenbosch, and Drakenstein, with George being added in the 2023-2024 financial year. The Municipal Systems Improvement Grant is a Schedule 6 grant spent and accounted for directly by COGTA for the benefit of municipalities. Its purpose is to assist municipalities to perform their functions and stabilize institutional and governance systems. A total of 9 projects are currently being implemented by COGTA as interventions to address a range of governance and institutional issues in identified municipalities and through the use of the MSIG. Honorable Chairperson, our country has recently seen a number of disasters, and this has highlighted the urgent need for a comprehensive disaster management plan. It's imperative that we invest in disaster risk reduction and mitigate the impact of hazards. By doing this, we will ensure that South Africa is better prepared for future crises. Partnerships and targeted social compacting is prioritized by COGTA. We're partnering with the University of Johannesburg's Faculty of Engineering and Built Environment, which is working on implementing the Internet of Things with postgraduate candidates to address the water, energy, food nexus challenges. The MTSF gave us the task to develop a smart city framework, which we did together with the CSIR for local government. We will be implementing a DDM smart city approach with UJ and Centec and water boards such as Umgeni Water and Rand Water in supporting smart villages and cities. We're partnering with SANEDI and other stakeholders towards systematic interventions we are putting in place, which involve the Municipal Demand Management Program and the Municipal Revenue Management Program, which seek to address the following, among others: to reduce the intensity of load shedding within municipal demarcated areas of supply, the reduction of the municipality's peak costs as less power will be procured on ESCOM elevated peak tariff like mega flex tariff, amongst others, the introduction of smart metering in water and electricity, and through these technologies to accelerate the load shedding mitigation measures. Honorable members, quite clearly, COGTA is endeavoring in practical fashion to ensure that we make local government everyone's business. The department has also allocated 3.3 billion during the budget adjustment period for the affected municipalities in KwaZulu-Natal, Eastern Cape, and the Western Cape towards the reconstruction and rehabilitation of disaster damages in the provinces. We remain committed to ensuring effective urban development planning in our country. We do this as we navigate the complexities of urbanization and strive for sustainable, inclusive, and vibrant cities. It is our firm view that spatial planning is a powerful tool that allows us to shape our urban landscapes, address the unique needs and challenges of our rapidly evolving cities. It is for this reason that we continue to implement the integrated urban development framework as government's policy position to guide the future growth and management of urban and rural areas and support and guide South African cities, intermediate cities, metros, and small towns to achieve spatial planning while protecting the environment. COGTA has entered into a targeted public-private partnership with the World Resources Institute. This 3-year partnership is aimed at strengthening cooperation and effective implementation of the IUTF. Moreover, the WRI through the Urban Water Resilience Initiative partnered with African cities, including the city of Johannesburg and Nelson Mandela Bay, with the aim to build water resilience. Honorable members, the department has also developed the small town regeneration strategy, which is aimed at the regeneration, restoration, and fulfilling the economic potential of underperforming small towns. The STR will be piloted in this financial year in the following small towns: Piketberg in the Western Cape, Senegal in the Free State, and Mudimule in Limpopo. In conclusion, we will implement the district development model in order to transform persistent apartheid spatial patterns that continue to reproduce poverty and inequality. We will advance the principles of the white paper to work with citizens and groups within the community to find sustainable ways to meet their social, economic, and material needs, targeting in particular women, the disabled, and the youth. Realization of the socio-economic rights is paramount, not only in addressing the physical scarring caused by apartheid spatial planning, but also in addressing the moving target of infrastructure backlogs. It is our firm belief that aligning our efforts and resources through the DDM and the Results Management Office, we will be able to streamline service delivery and improve the lives of the people that we serve. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The name of Honorable Zungula is on the speakers list, but there was no request for speaking on the virtual platform, and there was no granting of permission. As such, we call on the Honorable Sheikh Imam.
Thank you, Honorable House Chair. The National Freedom Party will support the budget vote of the Department of Corporate Governance and Civil Service. Now, having said that, Honorable Minister, through you, Chairperson, some of the statistics or information that has now unfolded, that at local level, bribery makes up for 28%. Procurement irregularities, 24%. Employment irregularities, 11%, abuse of power, 9%, and embezzlement of funds, 8%. According to whistleblowers, most corruption occurs within the office of the municipal manager. That is why you notice that with the coalition governments that are collapsing, have you not seen political parties are not after the position of the mayor anymore? They don't want the deputy mayor, they want the municipal managers and the CFOs, because that is where the corruption. Now, you know, Minister, I raised this yesterday. A lot of corruption takes place in local government. In fact, bags of cash. And if you ask bags, no more brown envelopes, now they bags of cash. In fact, they're trying to manufacture larger bags. But one of the problems we're facing with there is this, that there's no oversight over them. I asked National Treasury to provide us, or to get them to provide a report on a monthly basis of all procurement that were awarded, with the name of the tenderers, how much the value, the itemized billing, everything. Right now, I know somebody got a tender in a job he or she knows nothing about, but they got the job, I can tell you now. So, but Treasury said to me, but no, that process is there. They are reporting. But when I asked Treasury further, can you give me information on a specific municipality? They said, no, we must apologize. It's supposed to be done. None of them are doing it. We now have to make it mandatory. That's the problem we're sitting on. They're getting away with it. And I'm not saying it's going to eradicate corruption totally, but it will deter them, because we will know who's getting these tenders, who are benefiting and why they're benefiting. So I think that is very important. But I just want to, you know, so I think it's something very important. If we can deal with that, we'll save a lot of money, I can tell you. Because remember, the CEO of supply chain said we lose 40% in this country on goods and services, because we don't get value for money. Lastly, I just want to say very quickly, a Swedish team of 12 people were on the way to Gaza on a vessel, and they were intercepted by 12 boats from Israel, treated very badly, inhumanely, put into prison, were detained for 4 days, and they are now raising concerns about the plight of the Palestinian people at the hands of the Israeli government. I thank you. The NFP will support this. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Director.
Thank you, thank you. Honorable House Chair, honorable members of the House, fellow South Africans, ministers and deputy ministers, our DGs and the fellow South Africans. Before I could start with my speech, I just need to give clarity on some few elements that have just been raised here. Firstly, I will start with Honorable Spees. Surely you cannot compare a DA-led municipalities to ANC-led municipalities, since DA municipalities only serve minorities, while the ANC serves all the citizens, regardless of their race or status. And if you don't believe me, go to Langa, go to Khayelitsha, go to Gugulethu, go to Hammanskraal. They are not saying what you are saying, because to you, DA, the people are only the white people who have money. That's where you provide services to. And Honorable Spees, let me just also explain to you that DDM is not a doomed model. You know, lack of knowledge is very dangerous. And what is even worse is when you are refusing to learn. DDM is a well-structured coordinated program of government that brings together all the spheres of government in order to provide services to our people. So with DDM, we are going to avoid a situation where government will work in silos. So because you are anti-progressive movement, that is why you will be anti-DDM, because you don't want to progress. And my fellow fighters, Honorable Mukhalipi, you have brought up some of the challenges that we are aware of, and they are also some of our concern as the committee. However, your challenge is one. You have a huge appetite of grandstanding when you come to the podium. Number one, the minister, on the issue that you have raised about the minister do attend the portfolio committee meetings. And if she's not there, the deputy ministers are there. So maybe I should also
why
assist
when
you
GFS is raising
because
serious
you are in government, so you
you
don't
say that we
understand
are
the processes of government. If you are leading in government, you will understand that deputy ministers are representatives of executives. So if they are there, they represent the minister. And honorable member from Freedom Front Plus.
Honorable Dereko, can you take your
you
seat?
for
There's a
coming to
point
this.
of order. Point of order.
Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, the honorable members are drowning the speaker. Can you intervene?
That point of order is upheld. Members. Thank you, members. That point of order is upheld. You may interject, but not drown the speaker. That's my ruling. Is that another point of order? Okay, I'll allow it if it's not on the same matter.
No, I'm speaking for the first time here, Chair.
No, but you may not speak on a point of order that has been ruled on, honorable member.
No. Don't preempt what I'm going to say. Can you allow me as a member?
Yes,
The
proceed.
member in the podium can take a question. I just wait when.
Honorable Dereko, will you take a point of order?
No, House
question?
Chair, I want.
We knew because she's a
She
coward.
is not.
We knew she's a coward.
Proceed, honorable Dereko.
And lastly is on the honorable member from Freedom Front Plus. We are really happy to see him here today because the last time we saw him in our portfolio committee was a year ago when he went to a smoking break. So hopefully we will be able to see him next time. The ANC believes that a successful developmental local government is crucial to improving the lives of South Africans and building better communities. The developmental local government is at the center of delivering services to our communities. Local government is at the coalface of provision of the services. Therefore, various partners have a responsibility to support local government. This budget vote has been designed with the intention of meeting the needs of adolescents, boys and girls in our communities who are stranded, who have no hope for future.
the elderly men or women who are walking across flooded streets as a result of sewer overflows in our communities. The communities that are experiencing difficulties with the water supply in their municipalities, and the drivers who are forced to drive their way around potholes in our street on a daily basis. Therefore, it is against this background that we, as the ANC, have decided to support this budget vote of COPTA, simply because it is intended to correct the injustices of the past by building an ideal municipality. And according to our understanding, ideal municipalities are those that are able to deliver high quality services to our people in their communities, prioritizing local government, local economic development, promote good governance, and maintain financial stability. As ANC, in our very own ANC local government manifesto pledge in 2021, we pledged to remain accountable to our people, to be available to our people, to stimulate local economic development, to consistently provide services to our people, and to build a healthy living environment for our people. It is important that all municipalities should have financial stability in order to function properly and meet their constitutional obligation of providing services to our people. Therefore, in order for our municipalities to be financially stable, it is necessary for them to have a proper systems in place, financial systems. Municipalities should also have a realistic revenue collection plan that is capable of meeting the local government financial responsibilities, because our municipality cannot function without collection of revenue. Therefore, our community should also be encouraged to pay for the services that they receive from our municipality. And in return, our municipality should offer the communities a high quality services. Out of total number of 257 municipalities, there are currently 64 municipalities that are in the state of extreme difficulties. Therefore, intervention by COPTA in the municipality must be strengthened to help them function and deliver services. The intervention that we put in place should be able to give us the positive result. Therefore, COPTA must invest in the effort to change struggling municipalities by applying proactive mechanism to respond to the report of findings such as the one of the Auditor General. Therefore, ho ya ka molaotheo wa rona wa naha ho a dumeletseha hore mmuso wa bohareng le mmuso wa province o ka kena dipakeng ho dimasepala tse leng hore di na le mathata a ho fumantsha setjhaba sa rona ditshebeletso. Ke ka hoo ho leng bohlokwa hore ditshebeletso tsena tsa ho kena bohareng mmuso wa rona wa naha kapa wa province o romella batho ba eleng hore ba ka kgona hore ba tjhentjhe maemo a leng teng ka hare ho dimasepala ho ya ka karolo ya molaotheo ya 139 le 134. Mme ANC ha e hane hore ho na le mathata ka hare ho dimasepala tsa rona jwalo ka bonyofonyofo le botswa ba ho sebetsa. Ke ka hoo ANC e reng mo ho nang le bonyofonyofo di-membereng tsa rona tsa ANC ba emelle ka thoko hore ba ske ba thethefatsa lebitso la ANC. Mo e leng hore ha ba sebetse di-membera tsa rona maloko a rona a romeletsweng dimasepaleng a ile a signiswa a tekena tokomane ya hore ba tla sebetsa, mme ha ba sa sebetse ba tla ntshuwa. Ke ka hona re reng budget vote ena re le mokgatlo wa ANC ke a e support-a hobane e bua le ka tsa issue ka economic development. Mo e buang hore dimasepala tsa rona di lokela hore di be le morwalo wa ho hodisa matsete le ho hodisa moruo wa tsona, mme ba tsebe hore ba ba le plane eno hore setjhaba se masepaleng o se tsebe ho bona hore na ke dintho tse fe tse leng hore di etsa moruo wa setjhaba o hole ba kgone ho ba le
Thank you, member. Your time has expired.
morwalo ono.
AIC are not present. I now call on the Honorable Deputy Minister of Cooperative Governments and Traditional Affairs, Honorable Prince Burns Ngamashe.
Ministalo, mandizeke emzekweni. Izayamanise nembeko esele iqatshelwe nguMampembe, umphathiswa wesebe. Ngokukhethekileyo ndikhahlele kwiikumkani zonke zezwe lakokwethu. Xa ndenze njalo onke amaphakathi lifikelele kuwo.
Just have a seat. We want to just sort out the translation services. I can just have a seat, let us just sort it out. Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Member. You may proceed.
It is my honor and privilege to support the minister in presenting the Department of Traditional Affairs budget vote, almost 2 months after joining the Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs family. In his inaugural State of the Nation address speech in May 1994, President Nelson Mandela stated that, I quote, "Tomorrow, on Africa Day, our new flag will be hoisted in an historic ceremony at the Organization of African Unity, headquarters in Addis Ababa, with the OAU having already agreed to accept us as its latest member. Yet tomorrow again, on Africa, the UN Security Council will meet to lift the last remaining sanctions against South Africa and to position the World Organization to relate to our country as an honored, responsible, and peace-loving citizen." Close quote. The OAU in 2002 became the African Union in Durban, KwaZulu-Natal. These words remind us of the worthy commitment that we as a people made 29 years ago at the birth of our country's democracy, a commitment to usher in a country which all its people embodied the notion of a rainbow nation. Yesterday, we celebrated the Africa Day under the theme, promoting and appreciating knowledge in and from Africa. This means giving impetus to the discipline of epistemology from a construct of endogeneity and Afrocentric milieu. Let us share some moments worth reminiscing about the month of May. It was in 1996 that our country adopted the Constitution. It was in 1997 that the national anthem was adopted. It is this Constitution that postulates the mandate of the Department of Traditional Affairs to oversee matters related to the institution. Section 211 affirms the recognition, while Section 212 provides guidelines about the roles of traditional leaders. The objects based on the support and the transformation of the institution in accordance with constitutional imperatives and restore the integrity and legitimacy of traditional leadership in line with the African indigenous values and customs aligned to the Constitution. Honorable Chair and honorable members, to achieve our central goals, we have undertaken a process of consultation with their majesties, our esteemed kings, senior traditional leaders, and institution in broad to apprise the institution on the work that the department is undertaking in the transformation of the institution. I'm pleased to indicate that consultations on the process of establishing the Kings and Queens Forum is underway, and we should be able to launch the structure during the Heritage Month. Indeed, Zikumkani, we are determined to achieve the parity amongst all the kings and monarchs of our country. The forum is intended to be a voice of kings and queens. Just on 22nd May 2023, the ministry received a letter from the interim chairperson of the Kings and Queens Forum in the Eastern Cape, King Damase Ndamase, requesting the minister's assistance to facilitate the convening of the forum. It is going to happen, Fagu, siyaqhuba, njengoko umongameli esiyalele. Ingxaki ezijongene nesiko lolwaluko sifuna okokubana sithethe ngazo, ngoba ilifa lesizwe, isiko lolwaluko kufekethwa ngalo, kwaye sifuna uqinisekisa isizwe okokuba umthetho olawula ulwaluko uphunyeziwe, onika izixhobo abantwana begazi ngokubambisana ukuze kulandelwe inkqubo ezikhuselekileyo kuzo zonke iindawo. Kungelishwa okokuba apha kweli phondo lentshonalanga Kapa abantu bakowethu bahlukunyeziwe, kwafuneka bazihlangule ezinkundleni beheshwa ngesitshantshathela nobuntshova-ntshova ngemikhuba yokubandlulula ekwenzeni isiko labo ngokukhuselekileyo. Incwina esibathembisa yona ukuba sakusoloko sinabantu bakuthi sisebenzisana nabo nabantwana begazi kusenziwa ulwaluko ngesidima kwiindawo esibonisene nabo, hayi ukubahlukumeza bade bazikhusele ezinkundleni. Ndithetha nje, i-National Initiation Oversight Committee ilapha kweli phondo ilungiselela ulwaluko, ihewule nesihelegu esele sithetha nje sisingqinile kwabanye boomasipala esibabonileyo apha. Mhlali ngaphambili, lilizwe lomthetho eli, kwaye bonke abantu abagutyungelwe yimpehle yentlondi egqwalisa umkhitha wesiko lolwaluko siza kubancothula nengcambu sisebenzisana noluntu namaziko okhuseleko. Le migegemba yemigewu yovuka engceni yeengcibi namakhankatha iintsuku zabo zibaliwe. Chairperson, we have a constitutional responsibility to ensure tenure security in every area of the Republic, consistent with Section 25, subsection 6 of the Constitution. In this regard, the Communal Land Administration and Tenure Summit was held on 27 and 28 May 2022. The outcomes of the summit are being processed through the interministerial task team that includes working on policy alignment by the Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development for cabinet processes. Further, Chairperson, honorable members, both the communal land tenure policy and bill have been drafted and shall be processed through government structures and cabinet for public comments in this 2023-24 financial year. That's the ANC government for you. We are finally getting closer to guaranteeing our people a security of tenure that is suitable for us as Africans. This will serve as a fundamental precursor to dovetail the socio-economic strategy that resonates with the Rural Invest Master Plan as endorsed by President Ramaphosa in the context of district development model. Similarly, Chairperson, on the spatial planning, the Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development is in a process of identifying areas of amendment to Spatial Land Use and Management Act. One of the areas under review is the role of the institution of traditional leaders in land development processes. The institution is being engaged through identified structures to provide input on the proposals to address identified challenges. The department has met with the National House of Traditional and Khoisan leaders in February 2023 to discuss the mechanics of working together on the amendment of SPLUMA. With regard to the expropriation bill, traditional leaders of Limpopo participated in the public hearings in Capricorn, Waterberg, Sekhukhune, Upani, and
Have a seat, honorable member. Is a point of order.
No, content dita ngophela umeya kuyena uJune manje ibhantshi lesikole umhlonishwa ngabe udonethela ingane ngaleli bhantshi.
Usile wena usile.
That is not a point of order, it's not sustained. Proceed, honorable member.
Usile lo gogo.
Another point of order?
Honorable House Chairperson, thank you very much. I just want to rise on Rule 82, that you cannot reflect on the dignity of a member.
Thank you. Yes, that's why I didn't uphold the point of order. You may proceed, Honorable Burns Ngamashi. Order, members.
This is yet another demonstration of the ANC-led government that we intend to return the land to its rightful owners. We will soon be having expropriation of land as an act of parliament. Nithanda, ningathandi. A very clear submission by the National House of Traditional and Khoisan leaders was that expropriation will exclude the current communal land, and instead it will expand communal land to decongest areas of inkosi. Siyaqhuba, siyasebenza, it is ANC at work. The process to assess and authenticate the application by the public in respect of the Khoisan Commission is
Your time has expired.
Thank you very much.
No, not in the house, I'll pause. PAC, not in the house, I'll pause. Honorable Simango.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable House Chair, Honorable Minister, and Honorable Deputy Ministers, DGs, and other officials of the department, honorable members of the House, fellow South Africans. Local government serves as a prime point of service delivery. This is where most citizens interface with the government. The ANC government regards this sphere of government as an important sphere precisely because it is at the coalface of service delivery. The vision of the developmental local government system, that is developmental government, will act as an important element through which the reconstruction and development of our country and society can be built, as a sphere of government through which the citizens of our country will interact in a meaningful and direct way. Most importantly, local government will bring government closer to the people and be the vehicle through which the decision-making and the planning are processed. Through integrated development planning, known as IDP, the communities will interact with local government planning and propose their priorities for the purpose of resource allocation. As a result of being a sphere of government closer and interacting with the people, the local government must attempt to caution poor households into at least getting basic services in these trying times of high standards of living. The indigent policy needs to be strengthened and be resourced as the government is working on economic recovery for some basic services which are protected by the South African Constitution. This policy responds to the constitutional imperative in Section 27 of the Constitution, which acknowledges that, open quote, everyone has the right to have access to social security, including if they are unable to support themselves and their dependents, appropriate social assistance, close quote. Lo hulumeni kaKhongolose uyazikhathalela izimpilo zabantu futhi wenza konke okusemandleni ukuthi isimo semphakathi yethu sizinze. Siyaqinisekisa nje njengombutho wesizwe ukuthi abantu bakithi bangeke baze bahlupheke uma lo mbutho kaKhongolose usekhona. Honorable House Chair, as the local government is confronted with unemployment, especially amongst the youth, Cooperative, together with the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure, should strengthen the intervention and impact of the Community Works Program known as CWP. Key and relevant stakeholders such as CETA and TVETs must be able to come and add value to this initiative to make it more sustainable. The CWP program must be an initiative that is a platform for the participant to accumulate skills. After accumulating those skills, TVETs must open their doors for further and advanced accredited training. This should be funded by CETAs and Skills Fund. This collaboration would enable CWP beneficiaries to start as stipend earners until they own their businesses or become managers. Honorable members, there is a need for change in the manner of which CWP works. CWP must act as a transitional method for the betterment and advancement of people who had no opportunity, but after being exposed to the opportunity, then be able to expand more effectively. The DDM should help this initiative to be everyone's business and be harnessed to reach its maximum potential. It must be done in such a way that it serves as a bridge opportunity to possible artisans and entrepreneurs. Our communities must feel the effectiveness of this program. National project must have the drive to include locals in the running of projects. National projects such as Central and other infrastructure must consider being considerate to the local and unemployed members of our communities. CWP beneficiaries, contractors, and personal managers must find a possible way of making sure that they manage conflicts that happens within communities seeking to stop the project because of their because they feel excluded. CWP must also be linked to the economic activities that are taking place where our communities are located. The new proposed version of CWP will bring much needed results for the benefit of our communities. The ANC supports this budget vote. I thank you, Honorable House Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Opperman.
Honorable House Chairperson, by now we all know that Section 139 interventions have been a huge failure. We had 161 such interventions countrywide, of which 15 were challenged in court and set aside. In 17 municipalities, interventions were invoked more than once, meaning it didn't work the first time. In fact, municipalities are worse off after intervention. Currently, we have 87 municipalities identified as distressed and dysfunctional, 163 under financial distress, 98 with unfunded budgets, and 43 that had already collapsed. But can you guess what all these municipalities have in common? ANC governance. A new national disaster is now looming, municipal collapse. Die trae COVID-19 respons, onvoldoende reaksie op oorstromings in 7 provinsies, modderstortings en vloede in KwaZulu-Natal en die Oos-Kaap, langdurige droogte in die Noord-Kaap en openbare geweld en plundering in sekere dele van die land, het die totale ondoeltreffendheid en onbevoegdheid van hierdie ANC-regering se rampreaksie uitgelig en beklemtoon. 'n Onlangse diagnostiese verslag deur die Nasionale Tesourie en die Wêreldbank het die gemiddelde befondsingsgaping vir die finansiering van ramprespons in Suid-Afrika op 2,3 miljard beraam. Program 4 is egter katastrofies onderbefonds met net 932 miljoen rand en die teikens is so onvoldoende dat die land se vermoë om rampe te bestuur en te voorkom geensins verbeter kan word nie. 'n Nasionale ramptoestand is verklaar om 'n intensiewe, gekoördineerde reaksie moontlik te maak op die impak van vloede wat Mpumalanga, die Oos-Kaap, Gauteng, KwaZulu-Natal, Limpopo en die Noord-Kaap asook Noordwes provinsies raak, het president Ramaphosa in 'n verklaring gesê. Nou agbare lede, kom ek vertel u wat die ouditeur-generaal bevind het van hierdie intensiewe, gekoördineerde reaksie van die regering tydens hulle werklike tyd audit op die KwaZulu-Natal vloede. After 3 months of the KZN floods, people were still experiencing hardship with little relief in sight. The government's response to react to the disaster was completely inadequate and poor coordination existed between eThekwini Metro, DWS en KwaZulu-Natal Copter. Slegs 24% van huislose persone was assesseer vir tydelike residensiële eenhede. Alle tydelike residensiële eenhede, dit wil sê 100% van die wat inspekteer was foutief. Uit die 1810 eenhede was slegs 244 opgerig, wat beteken daar was 'n tekort van 640 eenhede. 356 skole was beskadig en 76 mobiele klaskamers is aangekoop. Die klaskamers is egter so na aan die vloedbank wat besig was om te erodeer neergesit dat dit nooit in gebruik geneem kon word nie. In fact, the learners had to use overcrowded, structurally unsafe classrooms, risking injury. How do you use 13 mobile units for 880 learners, as was the case at one school? How is that build back better? Die ANC se rampbestuurplan is net 'n slogan wat lekker op die tong klink. Many questions arose just as during the COVID-19 pandemic. Why did they use inexperienced service providers and self-companies despite having a database of suppliers? Why were state employees and their spouses doing business with the state yet again exploiting disaster relief funding? Intussen verklaar die president op 9 Februarie vanjaar nog 'n nasionale ramptoestand. Die keer oor Suid-Afrika se kragkrisis, aangesien daaglikse aaneenlopende kragonderbrekings besighede lam lê. Eskom beurtkrag is tans reeds in die eerste kwartaal van 2023 soveel erger as in 2022 in geheel. Beurtkrag het met 670% toegeneem sedert die laaste verkiesing. Dis te tragies om oor te vertel. Die DA het reeds sedert 2021 in 'n regstryd gewikkel om die rampbestuurswet ongrondwetlik te verklaar. Soos die wet tans daaruit sien, het parlement geen formele toesighoudende rol oor besluite wat kragtens die wet geneem word nie. Die mag is totaal in die hande van een minister en dit het reeds katastrofiese gevolge vir onbepaalde tydperke met hope bizarre regulasies tot gevolg gehad. Local governments' disaster management capacity in response need to be strengthened drastically. Die ANC-regering se onbevoegdheid en onwilligheid om op rampe te reageer. Mense, dis ons grootste ramp.
Thank you. Honorable Mpanza, you have 10 minutes. We've added 2 minutes left by Honorable Msimango.
Masibonge.
Mpanza, sorry.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Mhlali ngaphambili ungqongqoshe nosekela ngqongqoshe osekela abaphathiswa Honorable Ceza abaphathi bamasebe nenkokheli zindlu yobukhosi siyanibingelela. Mphathiswa nawe sihlalo ububhedengu nobungqondo gqwirha bobukoloniale busaqhuba namhlanje. Kuba buneminyaka engamakhulu amathathu anamashumi amane. Buzinziswa kweli lizwe, bulushica ukuguqula. Yiyo loo nto sisafumana abantu kule ndlu belila besithi hayi makutolikwe kodwa iintsimbi zisakhala esikolweni uba bafunde baguquke. Honorable Chairperson, the African Charter on Human and People's Rights recognizes the right of satisfactory environment as encompassed by the access to clean and safe water. Equally, the United Nations Resolution number 62/292 also recognizes that the right of access to safe, clean drinking water and sanitation is a fundamental human right. These policy measures would require of necessity a stable government and governance to realize. The ANC believes that political stability is crucial in local government as it greatly impacts the delivery of municipal services. It is visible enough that where there is instability and dysfunctional hung municipalities, delivery of services collapses. Key to the strategy of the ANC on the coalition is that, I quote, coalition must be based on a common minimum program that focuses measurable targets to service delivery and development in the communities. Such a program must be made public and of necessity is subjected to community meeting discussions. I close the quote. The ANC urges all the partners in local government coalitions to be guided by the principle to serve communities where they are. Sadly, once again, the DA-led coalition municipality has let the people of Hammanskraal down. The DA-led coalition dysfunctionality, instability in the city of Tshwane, to the extent that the people of Hammanskraal have lost families due to cholera, due to DA-led 7-year-old coalition that had failed to provide clean and safe water to townships. The Rooival water treatment works produces a substandard, effluent, and excess sludge that spills into the Apis River, contaminating the Leeugrad Dam. That's why you have problems today. The ANC in Parliament sends the deepest condolences to the families affected. The ANC is positive that the intervention by the National Department of Water
By the ANC,
Honorable member.
is a point of order.
Yeah.
Yes, ANC bangumsinda
Thank you very much, Chair. The speaker is drowned. I want you to, I request that you rule on that.
Members, I call on both sides of the House to reduce their levels of interjections because you are drowning out the speaker and it's coming from both sides of the House. Please proceed, Honorable Mpumza.
Thank you, Chair. For good cooperative governance, we need to address the matter of the political administrative interface in local government, in municipalities. There is a need for creating awareness of political administrative collaboration, balancing the involvement of politicians with administrative roles, and creating distinct roles and responsibilities and mechanisms to ensure effective management of relationship between politicians and administrators.
The failure to manage these relationships can result in mismanagement, maladministration, which negatively affects the delivery of services, like in Amaskran. Deliverable. Chairperson, deliberate inclusion and integration of traditional leaders into functioning of municipalities by involving them in councils is crucial. Traditional leaders must be integrated into councils to help strengthen the service delivery of people they lead. And the COGTA must validate the involvement of traditional leadership in councils and support them with possible resources such as workplace and other relevant tools of trade. Traditional leadership involvement should go beyond tradition and custom and transcend to issues of state governance at the local government level. Cooperation of councillors and traditional leaders can be of benefit to service delivery in communities as it galvanizes support and social accountability as key social partners. We will expedite, Honorable Mkalipi, the Traditional Affairs General Amendment Bill as a crucial intervention to bring about stability and strengthen traditional authority institutions. Furthermore, the inclusion of traditional leaders in council will resolve the tension that may arise due to the implementation of Spatial Planning and Land Use Management Act, which can cause conflict where traditional leaders are custodians of land. At the same time, municipalities are empowered by this act to be the appropriate authority to take decisions on matters concerning land use planning and land use management. Expanding access to land for residual use and other public services. Traditional leaders have allocated land for the poor, for the poor and for subjects in need. The ANC is pleased with the establishment of the interministerial task team to respond to issues raised over the years by the traditional leaders. There should be a speedy implementation of the outcomes on this task team to strengthen the role of government and support role of traditional leadership be more effective. We believe that the Deputy President will take this new task of leading this task with the greatest attention it deserves, working with COGTA. Chairperson, a stable, well-functioning, and inclusive resourced local government is a way to go, bringing a sustainable service delivery and rural development. Rural development is a matter we should prioritize to rural communities, and rural communities must be positioned as destinations for investment and places for economic activities. We should improve road and bridge infrastructure. Our people in rural areas need proper gravel roads. Reviving and maintaining rural infrastructure and help develop skills from rural areas. In his 2023 State of the Nation address, the state president announced that an allocation of 600 million strictly to support the rural and extractive municipalities to help them prepare for projects for development is welcome. The project preparation and packaging helps project to be bankable for investment, and building state capability, honorable member, is central to the improvement of infrastructure development to close the development inequality in rural areas and urban areas. Honorable Speaker, it is easy to come to this podium and claim catered development. Yet your party nepotically appointed Marietha Uokam as the chief of staff in the office of the mayor, who said that it's one into misgovernance, and the three mayors, including the current one. And that was catered deployment of an unqualified grade 12 official as chief of staff at a 2 million price in the office of the mayor. And one of such resultant deployment was the expulsion of qualified officials, like officials who were expelled as a result of that misgovernance. Honorable Speaker and Honorable Operman, through Marietha Onkam, Popo Rotongwana, Sibusiso Sibulele Mpumza, and Lorraine were expelled by this unqualified member. We therefore
Thank you, member. Your
support
time
this
has
budget.
expired. Point of order.
Presiding officer, I'm rising in terms of Rule 84. Member Koza has repeatedly called members of the ANC thieves, which is not in line with Rule 84. And there was a ruling made by the speaker on that statement when it was made by Member Nkwankwa. There was a ruling made that you can't call members with that term. Secondly, because I'm raising a point of order. Secondly, Member Kaola keeps on opening her mic and speaking without you giving her permission. She has done it several times in the sitting. And you can see, this is
Order, members.
This is what I'm talking about. So we need a ruling on that issue of Member Koza and Member Kaola.
Member Koza. Member Koza. Did you refer to members of the ANC as thieves?
I did not, they must prove it.
Thank you. We'll check answered. Thank you very much. I now call on Honorable Minister Nkadime. Thank you. You may proceed, Minister. Order, honorable members. You may proceed.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Debating is a healthy exercise and necessary for democracy. The budget debate presents us with an opportunity, as it has done in the past 2 hours, to listen to different views and hear diverse arguments. Of course, some arguments are progressive. I've been taking notes and learnings from them, while others, arguably, the least said, the better. So let me take this opportunity again to restate our key message as a Department of Cooperative Governments and Traditional Affairs. We came this morning, we presented with the Deputy Ministers a result-based planning and implementation system related through our Research Management Office and our Result Management Office, which will be placed in the department to ensure that we capacitate and further assist municipalities in providing their professional services and improve service delivery. This is also linked to the Invest Master Rural Plan that the Traditional Affairs in assisting the municipalities in areas and communities where they reside will also bring space. Now, the district development model is indeed a flagship of the 6th administration. It is being institutionalized, as I've said, and it is also going to align all the 3 spheres of government. There is a reason why you fear it. It is because it's going to fundamentally increase the rate of service delivery that we have made, and that is recorded by Stats SA. Honorable Speaker, you are not correct. You might have been an observer of local government and maybe read the books, not fully so. Project Consolidate, its first victory was consolidating 878 municipalities to 200 municipalities, ensuring that it closed the gap of racial segregation and ensure that equal access to services to people were there. Electricity connectivity moved from 37% to 93% because of the outcome of Project Consolidate. Now that is what you are afraid of. Stats SA has this information and it's mahala. Just go to it. It will tell you when Project Consolidate started, how many people in South Africa, Black Africans, had access to water. As Lalin Babetwalang Paget, Yes, today the problem is still there, but we have moved the ladder to around 62%, coming from a literal 22% of service delivery. Yes, because we have connected when our grandmothers were not connected. Load shedding is as a result of our own successes, and we're going to solve it. We come from 30%. We come from 30% of no connectivity to 90%, where you also did not have power, and today you have. Equally, we share on what is in this country's dispensation. Honorable Mama, I agree with you. Section 62 of the MFMA needs to be expanded on, and you have been raising this issue. But we have had 2 meetings with National Treasury, and we agree that we need to advertise and make sure that all the our tenders that are awarded by law are also made to do that. Honorable Speaker, again, you are not correct to think that peer review mechanisms of municipalities will only deal with the DA. I want to stay in Khayelitsha and enjoy. I want to stay in Midval, Escoten, and enjoy. But let me tell you, I can also take you to Sengu, which is ANC ran. 19 audits in a row. Why are you not saying you must take your own city of Tshwane to Sengu in the rural Eastern Cape so that they can go and learn? We have Hantam in the Northern Cape. We have Ehlanzeni in Mpumalanga and Bombay. We all have got mixed productivity in local government. You are not the custodian of success. Never. We would have not had our parents living under the dispensation that they lived in if you are the co-writers of all what is successful in South Africa. Some of you are praying for 2024. The only thing I like 2024 for is that it's elections. And our people are going to make their choice. They are going to be our arbiters. When we are back, we are going to say they have made a choice, and a choice will be what will be respected. Just day before yesterday, we won 2 by-elections.
Thank you, Minister.
And we know
Time is
that we are going
expired.
to come there. Honorable Mkalipi,
Honorable Minister, your time is expired.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, honorable members. That concludes the debate and the business of this mini plenary session. The mini plenary will now rise.